Hi, this is Dr. Scott Young, and we're going to talk a lot about um, some election corruption that's going on in here. Real interesting stuff. I'm going to give you some stuff that happened in 2024 election corruption, and then we're going to show each of these 5 videos that I have here that we'll talk about each one of them on the back end of that. And then I'm going to kind of give you some summation points out there with that too. Now, over the next several days, by the way, I'm going to just give you a little heads up. The next several days, I'm going to be, you're going to see all these people next week. The 3 I've got, one is Dave with News Treason, who's an old mortgage real estate agent, but he understands the mortgage industry as well. We're going to talk about what's going to happen post NESARA on that. I'm going to have Sheriff Mack on. Sheriff Mack's going to talk about difference between police and sheriffs and what their responsibilities are and what we're going to see constitutionally. So he's a constitutional sheriff. You'll love some of that stuff related exactly to NESARA stuff. So we're going to call that Essence of NESARA with sheriffs. And then lastly, we're going to have, and this will be in the late part of next week that we'll put it out there when I'm at a conference with Jay Caprietti in Dallas. But you guys will get to see a video, and it's about with Roger, and he is a lawyer, very awakened lawyer, but you're going to love what he's going to talk about with constitutionality issues that are going to change on the back end of this. So we're going to do all those kinds of things. So let's do this first video here, and we'll talk about them as we go.
In the election in January of last year?
The presidential.
And did you register?
No, I wasn't registered either.
Are you registered now?
Oh, I never filled anything out. No.
Okay, then I can't see how you can vote because you're not registered.
Remember, I do remember him.
Okay.
Remember, we was allowing anyone to come in.
We was allowing anybody to come in and they say,
Presidential. That's a presidential.
Yeah, Dorney General, they just let us.
So
Okay. I'll let you fill out a ballot now. Whether or not it's going to be, they're going to count it, I don't know.
But I don't know if it works because I'm an
It does
Irish.
work.
But I'm an Irish citizen. I'm not.
It doesn't matter. I mean, you have some citizenship here?
With the work visa, yeah.
Listen, we'll let you do it. They'll figure that out.
The brand new one, yeah. There's no much many new ones, just so you know.
Do you understand what he just showed you? Project Veritas has some real good stuff here. Do you understand what they just showed? They showed by New Jersey law, they knowingly violated poll workers, violating federal law. What these people, you don't understand is they've sworn an oath to uphold the Constitution, specifically their state constitution. They're violating it left and right. This is not just like a willy-nilly kind of thing. Oh, I didn't know about this kind of stuff. They knew for a fact what's going on. This is happening in almost every state out there. This is why this is part of the corruption that they're doing already in 2024. We'll talk more about that, but it's real fascinating what they're doing. Here's another video about the same kind of silliness going on.
In the wide settlement election, I voted for one president, checked it on the video screen. When I got the paper ballot, it had the other candidate's name on it. Check your paper ballots, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Lucas Clark, and I voted here at White Settlement Library in Fort Worth. I was
Texas.
in line for about 45 minutes, and there were 2 people that came out and said that their ballots were changed. So everybody double check your printed out ballots. They go in there and they vote, and once they print out their ballot, it's different. So.
Thank you very much, sir.
Guys, this is This is in a good state. Normally, you think with Texas, they're screwing with the ballots, right? This is what they do to mess with the systems. Okay, you think we're having a fair election? Not having a fair election, right? Let's show you this one. This is a federal worker doing this.
This mailman is dumping people's mail in this dumpster. I
Dude's
can't make
taking
this
mail and throwing it. Throwing a mail. Here's what happens: is she
He
kind
is
of checked
dumping
on
mail, federal mail,
federal mail. What is he doing?
in the dumpster and looking around while he's doing it. This gotta be a crime of some sort. Oh my God.
This is what they're doing. This is how they did it. Now we're watching it, but it doesn't mean that you got a fair election going on. They're messing with the election. These are just voting fraud points that we've seen here. Now, let's show you some election fraud points. Now, this guy's going to talk about this. The next two guys don't totally get it, but it's interesting to hear their perspective.
About the weeks running up to the election, I'm very worried about the days and weeks after the election. There will be districts that don't certify the winner of the election because the elected officials don't like the outcome. There will be massive numbers of court cases. I think there will be intimidation in certain areas that'll try to stop certain people from voting. And I think that after the vote is done, there will be huge numbers of people that don't believe that it's true, that believe it's rigged. And that's a dangerous place to be. I'm not talking about a civil war. I'm not talking about the U.S. becoming a dictatorship, but I am talking about a period of profound unrest that people alive in the U.S. right now they're not prepared for, and they're certainly not used to.
Okay, first off, the guy doesn't get everything, but he does understand that there will be unrest. Now, am I promoting it? Of course I'm not promoting this. But it doesn't mean that I can't see it on the screen. I can't predict. It doesn't mean that I couldn't predict it. We all can predict it. There is so much unrest about what they've done. It's because the elected officials are screwing with the vote. And we know it. I don't have to guess it. They're almost being brazen about this. Okay? And how can you not how can you do this? How can you keep this kind of thing going? The answer is we're still waiting for military to jump forward here. Now, some people get all irritated that, Dr. Scott, you said there wouldn't be an election. I said I believed there wouldn't be an election. This would be done before the election. Does that mean that I know for a fact? I never said that. What I did say is that this cannot be an fair election with idiot cabal doing their thing, okay? And if you don't fix this vote, and I'm talking about the whole thing, I'm not talking about fixing the vote. If you don't fix the systems that are made to cheat, what's the election about? It's all about a selection, right? Now listen to this guy, and here's what he says about this. I don't know if I agree with this very much, but listen to what he says.
We are going to see a huge recession, and they're going to make it look like it's his fault. Now, the other day I posted about this, and many of you took this out of context, and many of you took this as me saying that I'm not supporting Trump and that this would be Trump's fault. Hear me out real quick. Let's do some math. Just stop and think for a minute. They took Biden out in the bottom of the ninth, and they replaced him with a candidate that's really not that formidable against Trump. They know Trump can only be here for 4 more years, and they are playing the long game here. I believe they are setting up Trump to handle the recession that is oncoming. We've had terrible economic policy for the past 4 years, and it hasn't been reported to the American people. When black swan events and bad things have happened, MSNBC, none of these places have been saying hey, this is terrible. Hey, we just had more banks collapse than what happened in 2008. They are not saying any of this stuff. They are not reporting actual inflation. I mean, for good Lord, they replaced the name of a recession and redefined what a recession is. The American people have a debt to pay for the terrible economic policies that have been here for the past 3.5 years. And I believe that they're going to try to pin that on Trump, say orange man bad, scream that for 4 years. That way they can put like a Gavin Newsom or someone in like that, a strong candidate for the following 8 years. They played a long game. They're not just looking at what happens in this November. They're looking at the next president as well. And I believe they're making this way too easy for Trump to win. I believe that he's going to win, and I believe that they're going to dump a recession that is not his fault on to the American people and blame it on the red side.
Okay, there's just, first off, he's got some things correct. They've got a cruddy candidate, and thinking that Newsom is a qualified candidate, will even look like a qualified candidate. That guy's, I mean, first off, there's so many levels of delusion. And so when you guys hear videos like this, it triggers a lot of you guys. I'm hearing you going, and I'm like, oh, guys, can we just stop for a second? Basically, if you believe this, we're screwed already. We can't wait 4 years because the systems are almost done. We're not, he goes, oh, we're going to have a recession for 4 years. No, we're 30 times worse than the Great Depression. All of the indicators are sitting on those things. There is a weird propping up that's happened economically. And you think Trump doesn't know that? This you have to fix by basically trashing out their economy, and the new economy is already set in place. You don't like throw away something and then start fixing it. Like let's just say you have to move from your old house, right? And let's say you're building a new house. Well, you don't like move out of your house, have no place to live, and you're still trying to build the house, and it could take 6 months, year and a half, whatever time frame to build a new house. No, you live in your house until you have the new house, and you only make the move when the new house is ready. Are you catching that point? When we go in to the NESARA thing, it's the new house will already be ready, in essence. Okay, so don't pay too much attention to the silliness when you hear this, right? Because this is a person who's only seeing with his binoculars what he can see right in front of him. Now, listen, the Democratic Party is just done, but you don't understand, the Republican Party is done too. Like, wait a second, what are you talking about? Listen, I could name the different Republicans that are total rhinos. And we're not talking about just rhinos as a bad thing. We're talking about cabal and not cabal. Anyone who's been in office for more than 2 terms has to be out of office, period. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about this. We have to be constitutional on every level. So everyone who's been in office for more than 2 terms has to be done. Do you catch it? This is the ridiculousness. We can't have the new NESARA kind of thing with drunk Nancy in place, or pick the whatever that is the freak, and you just can't do this, right? And so I say this to people. Sorry, I'm getting a little hot here. Get heated up here. But I say this to people all the time. So why did I talk that there wouldn't be an election? Because again, this whole thing is not about an election. It's a selection, right? I mean, Kamala is an example of selections. If you're not seeing what, the beyond, what the White Hats are doing, you have to see beyond. Everything isn't a movie, but I will say election, which is government issues, media, and Hollywood, that's definitely the movie stuff. Even Trump said just a little bit ago, I don't remember if it was yesterday or the day before, he said, that Kamala is asleep and Joe Biden is asleep. Now, do you know that in the Bible, when they talk about being asleep or sleeping, it's another word, it's another reference. It's kind of a phraseology reference to being dead. Is Trump pulling that thing? I think so. I think if you're listening between the lines, that's the movie kind of stuff. So who is that? Of course, it's an actor. Okay, so I say this way. Even if we do get through an election, and the White Hats haven't done anything yet, there's not an EBS going on yet. Great, and Trump wins. Great, but you didn't fix the mayors, the governors, the House, the Senate, the State House, the State Senate, the city councils, the school boards. I mean, there are all of these positions that have to be refilled after you kick the cabal out. And we're talking about poll workers who haven't been taken care of. Guys, you got to fix those things. And you can't fix them after an election and then have, you're waiting for another election cycle. You see, what you guys look at this is like they stole a game in essence, right? If you're playing phase 10, just a card game, pick any card game you want to, and your friend stole the win, and let's say you had money riding on it, would you just play another game with her? She stole it, okay? And then you play next Friday and she steals the game again. I mean, she has cards underneath her and she's pulling cards out and whipping it out. We just keep playing the game with her. And the answer is, this is what we've been doing, unfortunately. The military's whole job is to protect the Constitution, the people for the Constitution, against all enemies, foreign and domestic. We're talking about domestic terrorism. These people are domestic terrorists. That's what Executive Order 13818, 13848 are all about, guys. Even if you believe that you can have a red wave, and I have people say, oh, the military, is watching the whole thing. Well, of course, they've been watching it the whole time, okay? They watched 2016 election, 2020, 2018, 2022. They've watched them all. We just haven't paid attention to 2018 and 2016. Didn't pay attention to that at all because we didn't understand what was going in 2020 and 2022. We saw it, and I'm showing you evidence of what they're doing already. So you've already got an unfair election. This is already going on right now. And even if you said to me, okay, well then what are you saying here? I say, well, okay, if you think there's a red wave that we have to do, and you say to me, Scott, Trump has to win by 90 million votes. Now let's do the basic math. Obama got no more than 71 million. Trump gets 76 in 2020, and Biden, hiding in a basement, gets 81 million. That every historian of any time frame, if you were to make them sit back and be realistic and say, I want you to line all the presidential candidates up and tell me that this idiot could have, without the COVID, without the crazy stuff, could have won an election, they would go, there's no way in hell he could have won that election, right? It doesn't jibe, which tells you, the smell test tells you that it doesn't make any sense, right? And that's what we all get mad about. But if you go, okay, 81 million, 90 million is the magic number that they can't corrupt the vote. Are you kidding me? All they have to do is put 91 million, steal off 80, maybe only get 86 million, right? Well, we got 86. You still lost it. 86 to 87, 90 to 91. They'll find a way to do this. And even if Trump wins, you still haven't addressed the rest of the idiots that you have to actually deal with. You have to deal with the poll workers all the way to the system of the voting, which is quantum voting. There's a QFS way of doing this. Very simple, straightforward ways of doing this. But you have to have a whole new vote. And so I say to people this, great, so you do a vote, but aren't you're still allowing people who are definitely cabal into the vote, which means that 3 months later, 6 months later, pick the date, you still have to do another vote. And you're going, people will be like going, why do we have to do another vote? Why did we do that thing in November when we could have, delayed it for some reason or not or had done this before that election? Do you see why, the logic of why I'm saying that? Guys, I hope that helps you understand it. But what I'm saying is that I'm not trying to get you to fear porn, but I want you to sit back, be calm, don't react to this stuff. Let's just say, listen, we need to be in prayer over this stuff. We also need to know what's happening and realize and keep calling out they're stupid, because every time we call out they're stupid, it makes them scramble even more, okay? And we have to be in their face in calling them out. Now, I'm not talking about screaming at someone, but if, like that one gentleman, he notices that on the screen he votes for Trump, and then the print-off shows Kamala, I'd have walked back up to the woman and said, go fix this. Well, no, go fix it. Your system is broken. And I'd have been loud enough. Your system is broken. You will fix this. I will stand here and wait until you fix it. You stole my vote. And yes, could they arrest that one guy or escort him out? But what if everyone did that? What if everyone said, I see proof I would never vote for Kamala, and you put it Kamala? What if that happened on every level? It would mess the systems up. We're not even talking about, getting the delayed counting that some of these places do. But what if you said something like that to these places? That's citizenry pushing back and saying, you are liars, okay? You have to understand the cabal are liars. The people in government are liars. The people in media are liars. The people in the poll situation maybe are okay persons, but the ones that are doing this fraud level stuff, that just like we showed you in New Jersey, and it's happening in other places, they have to be called out. And they have to be terrified for doing illegal behaviors. Not that you're going to fight against them, but you're calling out their illegal behaviors, right? It'd be like me watching someone, steal from the store next to me and not saying anything about it. But if I confronted the guy, I saw you stealing at 6:02, I saw you stealing, and I'm calling the police, and be on the phone with the police and say, here's the description. Here's the picture of the guy. Look. Okay, got it. And I'm giving this. This is where he is. This is where he's standing here right now. I'm calling him out. And you start to do that kind of thing. What happens is they get overwhelmed, and what happens is they have to bow to that kind of nature. It's real interesting. When we do that kind of thing, government has to step back because they cannot deal. That's a red wave, if you want to talk about a red wave. That's a patriotic wave and saying, I'm calling you out as cheaters and stealers, which is a federal crime, is going to put you in places like Rikers Prison. It would go back to the New Jersey kind of area. It will be Rikers Prison and every other really ugly prison. Those aren't the fun ones, okay? And some of them have done, treason level issues. But forget about the treason level stuff, because 80% of the sealed indictments that we know about are for election fraud. We have to fix it. It has to be fixed. Trump knows this. Trump knows this whole thing has to get fixed. So hope that helps you guys have a better perspective. Be calm. Know that God's got this figured out, but you have a role in calling out the stupid. So don't let them mess with your vote. Verify everything if you're going to vote. If nothing happens before that time, verify everything they do. You don't let people get away with the steal and just walk away and go, oh, we'll get them next election. It's not going to be that way. So look at this correctly. Have a better viewpoint of that. Thanks so much.